Hello Kythera people. Today I want to show you how I made the charging handle mod on my personal polarstar Kythera build. So that you can actually connect your reset cable to the charging handle and you don't have the reset cable coming out of your grip. You've got to mod a few things for that. The first thing I did was to take material away in the back of the gearbox. I drilled a hole through so that I can route the reset cable to the outside. I took a little bit material away here so that there is enough space later for the charging handle to come back, because you will have an additional screw in the charging handle and it will need a little bit extra space. And I also took a round file and smoothed the edges a little bit so that the edges won't destroy my reset cable over time. In the front, I drilled a hole and tapped it so that I can put a screw here, and I took some material away. It doesn't look too nice, but it works, so that the screw can actually fit here. It's not really necessary, but since I did it already, it doesn't bother me. And the last thing, I put a screw through here, so I had to drill the hole first, which will later on hold the spring inside. Let's open it up, I'll show you. So that's how it looks from the inside. I put the screw through here. You could place it anywhere else actually, but for me it was the most convenient place. I took a nut to secure it, put a spring over it, and a second nut to secure the spring so it's not always falling out on me when I open up the gearbox. You could really use any spring here, it's just one that I had laying around. So what this one does is when I put my Kythera inside, and I pull on the charging handle, it will pull the reset cable back inside the gearbox, because otherwise it would interfere here in the back, but like this it's always coming back inside. So for me these were the 3 things that I had to do. I'm sure there are other methods, but this one worked for me the easiest way with all the tools that I had at home. For the charging handle, it's not looking very nice right now because I had to cut some stuff off and it didn't work as I wanted, but it actually worked. It works, it's not that nice. I took some material away from the charging handle itself. I drilled and tapped a hole through here so that I can put a screw inside. I cut my charging handle, my reset cable to length, so I cut this part off and a little bit more. You have to look for yourself what's the correct length. And then I fixed the reset cable there with a screw so that when I actually charge it, it's pulling on the reset cable. That's everything you need to do. I also cut off my spring guide so it's not interfering with the cable. You don't need to do that, but for me it was just nicer, and I also glued it into place so it's not always falling out. So let's put the system inside. I'm gonna put the hose here, then I'm gonna attach the spring to the cable, route it to the hole, and it's always important that your shims are in place and your reset cable also, because if it's outside it's not working properly and you have to open up the gearbox again. So if everything's correct into place, we can put the second half. I always like to check if it's working correctly, so let's see. perfectly. So now that it's working, we can put all the screws back inside. So all the screws are put into place. With most of the HPA systems you won't need all the screws, but I just like to put them back. Feels more secure, even though it's unnecessary. Gonna charge it. Works. Perfect. Here with the cable, it's important that you put it to the correct length, because on most on my G&G gearbox you have this stopper for the charging handle here, and that's the maximum it can go. On others you don't have it, so it doesn't matter. But here you have to see before it hits the stopper that it actually cocks the system, which in my case it's like right on there. Also here, this material I had to remove because otherwise the screw would interfere and you couldn't put it all the way back into place. So basically that's it. Working charging handle mod. You can cock the system. Now I'm gonna install the charging handle spring. Which I've got somewhere here. There it is. That's the original one. I just used a screw here. We'll put it into the charging handle. Put the screw in place. Right there. It can't be too tall, otherwise it would interfere with your auto receiver, and you have to look by the dimensions. I did cut a little bit of plastic away here because otherwise it would interfere sideways. This one broke on me already, but I just used some tape. It's working perfectly fine. So now when you charge it, it will pull itself back. So that's the whole thing. I'm gonna put my pew back together and then gonna show you how it works when it's all set up. So on this build, I'm not gonna use a normal buffer tube. Instead I got this little AR buffer tube to pick rail adapter from I think 5KO. It's like $8 or something. And I will install this one. What I had to do is from my receiver take off quite a little bit of material here in the back, because this part would be too long, but I'm not gonna put a normal buffer tube on it back anyways. So it just looks like this from the other side, like with the correct hole and these little tabs, and you just put it on there and screw it into your spring guide. It also got this QD adapter right here, so you can mount your sling directly here. Very nice addition. So almost finished. Now I'm just gonna put the fake bolt back, which sometimes is a little bit tricky now because all this assembly, which is normally in the upper receiver, now goes like directly onto the gearbox. But it's not too hard, so I just lay it on there. Whoops, gonna take the pin out, of course. So slide it on carefully. Push it all the way back. And that's it. So, check if everything is working correctly. Gun is charging. And now on the end, you hear this little click. That was the reset cable. Let go. It's not always going back perfectly into battery because I probably have to do some fitting, but most of the time it works, that it goes all the way back inside. And if not, you can just put it there manually. So put it on fire. Boom. Charge it. Yeah, as I said, it's not always going there perfectly. I think it has something to do with the screw on top of the receiver that is interfering here with this little plastic tab, which I'm gonna do a little bit more filing, but altogether it works perfectly fine. Back on there, I've got a little folding stock. I'm just gonna show you how it looks. I really prefer this one over a normal buffer tube because it's just so much smaller, and you can even like fold it down and have like a little pistol, which is not really necessary, but once in a while it's quite nice to have the option. And altogether it's airsoft and you don't need a buffer tube on a gun anyway. So that's how I'm running my Kythera. Originally it was a GNG, which I modded quite often and changed stuff in a gearbox and took it apart, but now finally I just decided to put it into HPA. Not sure about this front grip yet because I don't like the look of it. It's also a GNG one, but it's really comfortable to grab it for playing. You can also fold the stock, which is quite hard, but works perfectly, and then you've got a really short package. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope this helps a few people that want to do the same charging handle mod. I know there are quite a few others out there, but I thought this would be the easiest one that I can achieve without having to 3D print anything or buy something additional, because you can do this with parts that you already got at home, like some old spring from a gun that you had laying around, some drilling, and a few extra screws that you can probably have at home, or if not, just get from your local hardware store. Thanks. See you guys.